Okay, so as you can see with my brows, they are really shady, to say the least. So what I do to always get started is I grab my spoolie. And some of you may have like fuller eyebrows, so you'll really need to really direct the hairs in the direction that you want them to go. So I just kind of take my spoolie and I brush them up. You see, my brows are very fine, so I don't have a whole lot to do. But I like to shape them up because, you know, your brows frame your face, and without your brows on, you just look weird. So they've been kind of shaped and brushed in the direction, and I just kind of get everything going up. And then I grab my angle brush, and this one is by Sigma. This is the E65. You can use any brush that you want. I personally just like to use this brush. It's easy for me to use. It has the angle. I can kind of direct the powder where I want it to go. So for my updated routine, I told you guys I have been using the Brow Zings by Benefit Cosmetics. And it comes with the powder, and then it also comes with a pomade, and it comes with 2 small brushes as well as a set of tweezers, which I've already told you those tweezers are the bomb. So to start out, I grab a little bit of the powder onto my angle brush, and I just start to outline the brows. I always start at the base of the brow. I'm not saying that's where you have to start, that's just where I start. And I start at the base of the brow. Now let me tell you one thing. I've already told you guys this in my last video, but you have to measure your brows. And as you can see, mine, I've gone a little, well, it may work, I'll see. So it goes from the tip of your nostril. When you go over to your pupil, it tells you exactly where your arch should be. So boom, my arch should be there. And when you tilt it to the tip of your nostril on the end, it tells you where your brow should start. So that's how you can prevent having these really long brows, or just brows that are not in accordance to your face. So once I've gotten the bottom line drawn, I just kind of go in and start to fill in. And I tell people all the time, just kind of use your imagination on where your brows naturally grow, where they naturally start and stop. If you want to, you can go ahead and fill in like a top line to give you a guide. I know my arch is roundabout right here, and I know that there isn't any hair there. So this is where the powder and the pomade is going to come in to kind of create that brow. And you see I'm just turning the brush different ways. Right now I'm using it on the wider side to kind of help fill it in. And then when I want to be a little bit more detailed, I turn the brush to the side. So that's why I personally really like the angle brush, because you can really shape your brows the way you want to and be very precise. So you see the shape of the brow coming in very nicely. And this is powder, so there's room for error, there's room for correction of that error, because it is just powder. And that's another thing I really like about it. And you see where it was sparse and I didn't have much hair here? I'm able to fill that right on in without any issues. So you see the shape of the brow has come together pretty nicely. So now what I do is I go in and I clean it up to make sure this is the shape I want before I set it with the pomade. And as y'all know, I'm just going in with some concealer. You can pick up any concealer. I'm just using my Pro palette. And this one is actually NW40 from MAC. Same thing, I go in underneath and I outline my brow. And I always kind of cut my tail of the brow off like that, just to kind of give it a sharper, cleaner edge. And I do like to drag my concealer down like this, just because it'll already give me that highlight when I go in for shadows, if I choose to wear shadows. And even if I don't choose to wear shadows, it just gives that brow a nice arch and a nice lift. And as you can see, I'm blending the concealer out. A lot of people do forget that step. You don't just leave it down there, blend it out to give it a really nice look. Now for some additional shaping, you can go in with a concealer that's the same as your skin tone, and do the top. I don't like an extremely sculpted look, so I don't do that. I kind of let the top do its thing and just kind of be natural. But again, that's preference. If you want a very sculpted look, you definitely can go in over the top with a shade. Like, you can go in with your foundation if you want, and you can clean up the top here. But again, my preference is not to do that. So you can see a big difference from here to here. So at this point, I grab my Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade. I go back in with my angled brush, and this is going to set my brows. I have oily brows, y'all, so they get oily throughout the day, and they will start to fade if I don't set them. And I noticed when I was using the pencil, the MAC eyeliner pencil that I was so crazy about, they would always get extremely oily and just fade away. But since I've been doing it this way with the dip brow, I haven't had that issue at all. And you're just going back in and you're setting right where you put the powder. Just going in with the pomade, kind of filling in or staying in the lines. You know how you color and you stay in the lines. That's all we're doing. And if for some reason you make a mistake, you just go back with your concealer and clean it up again. It's really not a lengthy process. It's really quite simple. And the more you do it, the faster you'll get. Even with instructing you guys on the video, you see it didn't take that long. So if I'm not talking, I can really do it a lot faster. Now your brows, you know, you hear the saying all the time that they're sisters, they're not twins. So you will have days where your brows just absolutely look amazing. And you'll have some days where your brows just don't seem to want to cooperate. Now this last step, what I do is I just take my spoolie and I just fade out the front just a little bit so it doesn't look as boxy. And that's all I'm doing. So I'm going to do the other brow off camera. I want you guys to practice while I'm doing the other brow off camera, or I could do it on camera and just speed it up later. Actually, I think I'll just go ahead and do it on camera so you guys can see. I'll speed it up though, so I won't be talking.
Really want no problems.
So one quick thing I did want to say is, y'all can see on this brow I kind of made it too thick. Well, that's the beauty of using a powder and a concealer. I was able to go in and correct it and make it just about the same size as the other brow. So that's what I do love about using powder, is it's less permanent. You can take the concealer and you can go in and correct it. So pretty much this is really it, you guys. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I try to make it as short as possible so you guys can follow it. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys. Be blessed, be beautiful, and be you. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.